When was the last time you heard anyone talk about Yamaha motorcycles with the energy the brand used to create? Almost never. And that says everything. There was a time when this name dominated two wheels. Valentino Rossi tearing through MotoGP corners on factory Yamahas. The R1 setting superbike standards that competitors scrambled to match. For decades, Yamaha felt like a guarantee of performance and innovation. The momentum was real, and the brand rode it all the way to global expansion and racing glory. But momentum only lasts if the world around you does not change too quickly. Electric technology shifted toward sustainability and efficiency. Manufacturing costs spiraled while profits collapsed 60%. The racing dominance that once made Yamaha so formidable slowly turned into a limitation. The name stayed familiar, but the influence faded. So today's question is simple. How did Yamaha rise this fast? And what pushed it into a $6 billion downfall? Yamaha's story begins in 1955, when Junichi Kawakami made a pivotal decision that would reshape the company's future. Already established as a musical instrument manufacturer, Kawakami saw opportunity in Japan's post-war transportation needs. The company's first motorcycle, the YA-1 Red Dragonfly, was not just another bike. It was a statement of engineering precision carried over from Yamaha's musical heritage. What separated Yamaha from countless other manufacturers entering the motorcycle market was their immediate commitment to racing. Within months of producing their first motorcycle, Yamaha entered the 1955 Mount Fuji ascent hill climb and shocked the establishment by defeating well-established European brands. This was not beginner's luck. It was a calculated strategy. Kawakami understood that racing success would translate to brand credibility in a way nothing else could. Yamaha's racing DNA quickly became the company's defining characteristic. By 1961, just 6 years after entering the motorcycle business, Yamaha secured their first Grand Prix victory in France. The message was clear. This musical instrument company from Japan was not just participating in motorcycling, they were redefining it. Yamaha's engineering prowess centered on revolutionary two-stroke engine technology. While competitors focused on four-stroke engines, Yamaha perfected two-strokes that delivered superior power-to-weight ratios. This technological edge propelled them forward on racetracks worldwide, and it distinguished their consumer motorcycles as performance leaders. The 1970s marked Yamaha's true ascendance to global prominence. American racing legend Kenny Roberts Sr. brought dirt track techniques to Grand Prix racing, giving Yamaha a competitive advantage no one could match. Between 1974 and 2010, Yamaha secured 9 MotoGP Constructor Championships, more than any other Japanese manufacturer during this period. Racing success fueled global expansion. Yamaha established manufacturing facilities across Japan, expanded into Europe, and developed production capabilities throughout Southeast Asia, particularly in Thailand and Indonesia. By the 1980s, Yamaha had transformed from a Japanese company selling motorcycles internationally to a truly global manufacturer, with integrated production networks spanning continents. The culmination of this growth came in the late 1990s, with the launch of the Yamaha R1 superbike. When unveiled in 1998, the R1 completely revolutionized litter-class performance standards. Its concentrated mass, innovative engine design, and track-focused engineering made competitors' offerings seem instantly outdated. The R1 was not just another motorcycle. It was a declaration that Yamaha understood performance better than anyone else. By 2018, Yamaha had secured 16% of the global motorcycle market, second only to Honda. Annual revenue from the motorcycle division exceeded $15 billion at its peak, with manufacturing capacity surpassing 5 million motorcycles annually across its global facilities. Yamaha had built an empire that seemed unassailable until it wasn't. Behind the glossy racing success and impressive sales figures, troubling signs were emerging. Between 2019 and 2023, the motorcycle division's profits plummeted 60%, from $2.1 billion to $840 million annually. This was not a minor fluctuation. It represented a fundamental shift in Yamaha's market position. The company's global ranking fell from number 2 to number 4, surpassed not just by longtime rival Honda, but also by India's Hero MotoCorp and Bajaj Auto. For a company that had defined itself by leadership, This relegation was more than a statistical change. It was an identity crisis. Manufacturing utilization rates told an equally concerning story. Facilities that once operated at full capacity now ran at just 65% utilization, creating inefficiencies that further eroded profitability. Perhaps most alarming, research and development spending as a percentage of revenue fell behind competitors for the first time in company history, exactly when innovation was most critical. On the racetrack, Yamaha's decline was equally visible. After their last MotoGP Constructor Championship in 2010, the brand endured over 13 years without a Premier Class title. The departure of racing icon Valentino Rossi to Ducati in 2011 marked the end of Yamaha's most successful rider partnership and signaled a shift in power within the racing world. World Superbike results followed a similar pattern, with only 2 manufacturer titles since 2016. Top rider talent began defecting to Ducati, KTM, and other manufacturers offering superior performance packages. The racing heritage that once defined Yamaha was becoming a liability rather than an asset. Financial consequences of Yamaha's strategic decisions materialized quickly. Motorcycle division operating income fell from $2.1 billion in 2019 to $840 million in 2023, a 60% collapse that reflected both market share losses and compressed margins. Global market share dropped from 16% to 11% as competitors gained electric motorcycle customers. Manufacturing overcapacity forced facility closures in Brazil, India, and Italy. Research and development spending cuts led to reduction of engineering staff by 1,200 employees globally, exactly when the company needed innovation talent most. The downward spiral accelerated as cost-cutting measures further hindered Yamaha's ability to develop competitive products. Racing performance, once Yamaha's calling card, deteriorated dramatically. MotoGP results dropped to 6th in constructor standings, the worst result in 30 years. Fabio Quartararo's 2021 championship provided a brief bright spot amid overall competitive decline, but it could not mask the underlying problems in Yamaha's racing program. World Superbike market share fell to 15% as Ducati and Kawasaki gained performance advantages through more aggressive development programs. Sponsorship revenue declined 45% as racing results failed to generate marketing value, further straining financial resources. Market position deterioration extended beyond racing into consumer segments. Premium motorcycle segment share fell to Honda, Ducati, and BMW in key markets, brands that had once trailed Yamaha in performance perceptions. Electric motorcycle market share remained below 2%, while competitors achieved double-digit percentages. Dealer network consolidation resulted in 340 locations closing due to insufficient sales volumes. Brand perception studies showed a 52% decline in innovation leader ratings among target demographics, a devastating blow for a company that had built its identity on pushing boundaries. Executive leadership changes reflected the crisis. Motorcycle Division President Hiroyuki Suzuki retired early amid performance pressure in 2022. The Chief Technology Officer departed following internal conflicts over electric strategy direction. The Board of Directors implemented quarterly reviews of Motorcycle Division strategy and performance, a level of oversight previously unprecedented. New leadership appointments from the automotive industry with electric vehicle experience signaled recognition that change was necessary. But these moves came years after competitors had already established commanding leads in electric technology. Yamaha's decline stemmed from 3 fundamental strategic mistakes. First, the company engaged in technology transition denial, underestimating electric motorcycle performance potential and consumer acceptance rates. While maintaining a combustion engine focus, competitors invested heavily in battery and motor technology. Yamaha missed the critical window from 2019 to 2021, when electric motorcycle technology became commercially viable. The company failed to recognize the regulatory environment shift towards zero-emission transportation mandates that would eventually force transition regardless of consumer preferences. The second strategic mistake involved customer base misunderstanding. Yamaha assumed traditional performance metrics like horsepower and acceleration remained primary purchase drivers while ignoring younger demographic preferences for sustainable and connected transportation solutions. The company overestimated brand loyalty among existing customers while neglecting new customer acquisition strategies. Most critically, Yamaha misread urban mobility trends toward electric, shared, and subscription-based transportation models that were reshaping how consumers interacted with two-wheeled vehicles. The third strategic mistake was competitive response inadequacy. Yamaha allowed startups like Zero and Energica to establish electric performance motorcycle credibility in segments where Yamaha should have led. They permitted Harley-Davidson, a brand even more associated with tradition, to capture electric motorcycle mindshare. Yamaha failed to leverage their racing expertise for electric motorcycle development and marketing advantages. The company missed opportunities for strategic partnerships with battery manufacturers and technology companies that could have accelerated their electric transition. Alternative approaches existed. BMW implemented a gradual electric transition, maintaining combustion sales while developing the C-Evolution and CE04 electric models. Honda created a comprehensive electric strategy, including partnerships, research and development investment, and production planning without abandoning their combustion offerings. Ducati maintained its performance-focused approach to electric development, preserving brand identity while innovating for the future. KTM pursued aggressive electric motorcycle development through its Bajaj partnership and dedicated engineering resources, proving that even specialized manufacturers could successfully navigate the transition. Yamaha's failure was not inevitable. It resulted from specific strategic choices that prioritized short-term financial performance and existing technical competencies over long-term market positioning and technological adaptation. These performance issues coincided with profound market shifts. The electric motorcycle market began growing at 23% annually, while traditional combustion engine sales stagnated globally. Younger demographics showed an overwhelming preference for sustainable transportation, with 67% of 18 to 35-year-olds prioritizing environmental considerations over raw performance metrics. Urban mobility regulations increasingly favored electric vehicles in major metropolitan markets worldwide. Cities from Paris to Singapore implemented access restrictions on combustion engines, while creating incentives for zero-emission alternatives. The regulatory landscape was shifting beneath Yamaha's feet, and they seemed either unwilling or unable to adapt. New ownership models presented additional challenges. Subscription services and sharing economy models disrupted traditional motorcycle ownership patterns, particularly among younger riders, precisely the demographic Yamaha needed to capture for long-term success. The shift towards subscription and shared use was changing how people thought about ownership. While Yamaha hesitated, competitors seized the opportunity. Zero Motorcycles captured 34% of the premium electric motorcycle market with technology that delivered both performance and sustainability. Harley-Davidson, a brand even more associated with tradition than Yamaha, launched its Livewire division and began gaining traction among traditional customers seeking electric alternatives. Competitors moved first and gained ground. Chinese manufacturers like NIU and Gogoro dominated electric scooter segments with innovative battery solutions and connectivity features that appealed to urban commuters. Even outside the motorcycle industry, Tesla's influence created consumer expectations for electric performance vehicles across all transportation categories. Tesla set a new benchmark for electric performance. Yamaha faced a perfect storm, declining racing performance, eroding market share, shifting consumer preferences, and intensifying competition from both established rivals and nimble startups. The empire built on combustion engine performance and racing heritage suddenly looked vulnerable in a world rapidly transitioning toward electrification. By 2020, the industry context made the electric transition inevitable rather than optional. The European Union announced plans for a 2035 ban on new combustion engine vehicle sales, including motorcycles. California and 12 other states implemented zero-emission vehicle mandates affecting motorcycle manufacturers. Major automotive companies like GM, Volvo, and Jaguar committed to all-electric futures by 2030. Investment capital flowed heavily toward electric vehicle startups, with $87 billion raised globally in 2021 alone. The message from markets, regulators, and consumers was clear. The future would be electric, and companies that failed to adapt risked obsolescence. Faced with this reality, Yamaha made a fateful decision: resistance rather than adaptation. Executive leadership publicly stated that electric motorcycles were not viable for performance applications as late as 2019, a position that contradicted emerging evidence and signaled the company's reluctance to embrace change. Research and development budget allocation told the same story, with 85% of resources continuing to focus on combustion engine improvements versus electric development. While competitors formed partnerships with battery technology companies and software developers, Yamaha doubled down on relationships with traditional suppliers. Marketing campaigns continued emphasizing horsepower and acceleration over sustainability or efficiency metrics. The company seemed determined to convince the market that the future would resemble the past, despite mounting evidence to the contrary. Meanwhile, competitors made bold investments in electric technology. Harley-Davidson committed $100 million to its Livewire electric division, including dedicated manufacturing facilities. Honda announced a $40 billion electric vehicle investment plan that included a comprehensive motorcycle electrification roadmap. European competitor KTM partnered with India's Bajaj Auto for electric motorcycle development and a shared platform strategy, combining European engineering with cost-effective manufacturing. BMW launched the CE04 electric scooter with advanced connectivity and an 80-mile range, demonstrating that established manufacturers could successfully transition to electric offerings. Yamaha's resistance to change reflected deep internal factors. Engineering culture remained deeply rooted in two-stroke and four-stroke combustion engine expertise, areas where Yamaha had excelled for decades. Reorienting this expertise toward electric powertrains required not just technical adaptation, but cultural transformation. The dealer network expressed concerns about electric motorcycle servicing requirements and profit margin impacts. With service revenue representing a significant portion of dealership profitability, the simpler maintenance needs of electric motorcycles threatened the established business model. The racing division's influence continued prioritizing MotoGP performance over road-relevant electric technology development. Within Yamaha's corporate structure, racing success had long justified engineering direction, but that same focus became an obstacle to necessary innovation. Manufacturing infrastructure optimized for combustion engines required massive retooling investments for electric production. With facilities already operating at reduced capacity, committing billions to electrification seemed financially risky. Yet failing to invest created an even greater long-term threat. Yamaha found itself at a strategic crossroads: commit fully to an electric future despite uncertain short-term returns, or continue focusing on combustion technology while making minimal electric investments. They chose the latter, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences. Yamaha's electric motorcycle efforts remained token rather than transformative. The EC05 electric scooter launched exclusively in Taiwan with no plans for global expansion. The E01 electric motorcycle concept revealed at the 2019 Tokyo Motor Show generated media attention but never reached production. Partnership announcements with battery suppliers lacked concrete development timelines or investment commitments. They appeared designed more for press releases than actual product development. Yamaha's electric research and development team remained fewer than 50 engineers, compared to more than 800 working on combustion projects, a staffing allocation that revealed the company's true priorities. Instead of embracing electric transformation, Yamaha doubled down on combustion technology. The 2020 R1M launch featured advanced electronics, but kept a traditional 998 cubic centimeter four-stroke engine. The MT series expanded with new displacement variants rather than electric alternatives. Racing budget allocation maintained a 90% focus on MotoGP and World Superbike combustion categories. Manufacturing strategy reflected the same resistance to change. Production line investments continued focusing on combustion engine manufacturing equipment and tooling. Supplier relationships deepened with traditional component manufacturers rather than electric technology partners. Quality control systems remained optimized for combustion engines rather than battery and electric motor integration. Global facility planning assumed continued combustion motorcycle demand through 2030 and beyond, an assumption that looked increasingly tenuous as market trends and regulatory frameworks evolved. Yamaha had made its bet. The electric transition would be slow enough to allow gradual adaptation rather than requiring immediate transformation. Market response quickly revealed the flaws in Yamaha's strategy. The EC05 scooter received a lukewarm reception, with only 12,000 units sold in its first year, a fraction of what comparable Honda and Gogoro models achieved in the same market. Motorcycle media criticized Yamaha's wait-and-see approach to electric technology, with influential publications questioning the company's innovation credentials. Dealer feedback indicated customer inquiries about electric options increasing 340% annually. Yet Yamaha provided dealers with few concrete answers about future product plans. Social media sentiment analysis showed 73% negative perception of Yamaha's electric commitment compared to competitors. While Yamaha hesitated, rivals launched compelling electric motorcycles that proved the technology's viability. Zero's SRF achieved a 200-mile range and 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.3 seconds, performance numbers that directly challenged Yamaha's claim that electric motorcycles could not deliver exhilarating experiences. Harley-Davidson's Livewire earned significant media attention despite limited sales volumes, and it positioned the traditional cruiser manufacturer as more innovative than the once progressive Yamaha. Energica's racing success in the Moto E Championship demonstrated electric performance capabilities on the track. Territory Yamaha had long considered its exclusive domain. Financial markets responded predictably to Yamaha's strategic missteps. The stock price declined 23% following quarterly earnings that showed continued motorcycle division struggles. Analyst downgrades cited failure to adapt to the electric transition as the primary concern. The investment community questioned the long-term viability of Yamaha's combustion-focused strategy in a rapidly changing market. For the first time in company history, credit rating agencies placed Yamaha's motorcycle division on a negative outlook. The financial community that had once celebrated Yamaha's performance now questioned its future, a stark reversal for a company that had defined motorcycle excellence for decades. Today, Yamaha faces a challenging recovery path. Manufacturing consolidation continues, with additional facility closures planned through 2025. Electric motorcycle development has finally accelerated, but it remains more than 5 years behind competitive offerings. Market position recovery requires an estimated $3 to $5 billion in investment over the next decade. That capital might have been deployed more effectively had the company moved earlier. Brand reputation rebuilding has become necessary to regain the perception of innovation among consumers. The company that once defined motorcycle performance now must convince the market that it understands the future. That is a much more difficult proposition than maintaining leadership. Critical questions remain about Yamaha's future viability. Can the company develop competitive electric motorcycles fast enough to regain market relevance? Does traditional racing heritage provide a sufficient foundation for electric performance credibility? Can manufacturing expertise be successfully transitioned from combustion to electric production? Perhaps most importantly, how long will financial resources sustain the motorcycle division during this transition period? The 60% profit collapse has created financial constraints precisely when investment flexibility is most needed. The broader industry implications extend beyond Yamaha. Traditional manufacturers must balance heritage preservation with technological innovation in ways previous generations never faced. Racing success no longer guarantees commercial success in a rapidly changing transportation landscape where efficiency and sustainability often outweigh raw performance. Consumer preferences are shifting faster than established companies can adapt their business models. The electric transition represents an existential challenge rather than an incremental product development opportunity, separating companies that can reinvent themselves from those bound to tradition. Yamaha's $6 billion downfall is not just about one manufacturer's struggles. It is about what happens when momentum collides with disruption, when tradition meets transformation, and when leadership becomes complacent. For an industry built on acceleration, the most dangerous move proved to be standing still. So here is my question to you. Can a 70-year motorcycle dynasty recover from missing the electric revolution? Or is this just what happens when momentum meets disruption and tradition collides with transformation? I am curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.